I had met her for 10 minutes on a street. She was at my place with her best friend, another girl, at 11 p.m. at night.
Oh my god.
That,
sex tourist, this is a new terminology.
No, like...
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we have again Robert from my last video, and he is dating coach, and he promised us a video about Serbian girls and dating in Serbia, what we are doing today. So we are gonna talk about tips and tricks for guys, how to date Serbian girls, how to date in Serbia, and all about this.
Yeah, I first came to Serbia 1.5 years ago when I started living this traveling lifestyle, because I've been traveling kind of from place to place non-stop for the last 1.5 years, and Serbia was my first destination because I've heard that Serbia had the hottest girls in the world, and they truly are beautiful. When I came here, I was so surprised, I was blown away by the beauty, but I was also blown away by their coldness and how they would reject me 10 times in a row and looked at me like, what the fuck does this guy want? And it was really tough. Now I've been living in different places all over Europe and a bit US and Mexico, and I've learned to adjust my approach to women to each country. And so now when I'm back here for the second time, learn how to understand what works in a specific country. I came here again, and all of a sudden I'm getting completely different reactions. They're still beautiful, but this time they're very warm, they're very open when I talk to them. So in this video we're kind of gonna talk about what I've learned about dating in Serbia, about Serbian girls, Serbian women, and what was the difference also between my first visit and what I'm doing here right now.
Yeah, so let's start with our first topic for today. It's the types of Serbian girls, because girls in this world, in every country, are different, and Serbia also has different girls. And so what are the types here, Robert? What have you seen during your time here?
Well, first of all, as I said before, they are beautiful. They are relationship oriented, so if you're looking just for a quick fun weekend, then this is not the place to go. But maybe if you are looking for something more serious, then girls here are very relationship oriented. You have to be aware of that, and don't expect the weekend in Serbia to end in crazy orgies or crazy fun, or it's probably not gonna. So you have very different types of girls here, and the types of girls you see here has changed over the last 1.5 years, because Belgrade, especially Belgrade, Serbia is one thing, but Belgrade is a very different thing. So Belgrade is evolving very fast. It has become more and more Western, so now you see a lot of maybe cute, artsy girls. You see also a lot of rebel girls who you can see that they're not really listening to Justin Bieber and Britney Spears. They're also listening maybe to Rammstein and some heavier music. So you have more and more of those girls. You have a lot of those princessy looking girls, because Serbia is one of the capitals for plastic surgery, and it's absolutely typical to see fake lips, fake breasts, fake everything. It's very, very common. If you meet a girl around 30 or more, then it's very common that she has had some work done on her. Of course, this is still a place that's a bit old school, a bit in the past in some ways, so you will meet a lot of girls that are just a gray, quiet type who hasn't really learned how to look beautiful, how to take care of what Mother Nature has given them. So yes, you have a lot of girls that you won't want to pay attention to, but you have a lot of young, beautiful, interesting girls here. So let's talk a bit more in details. So one thing that you have here is, I call them kafana crowd. And if you are at any level informed about 90s in former Soviet Union, then those were the people that in the 90s they cared about your status, the brands you're wearing, what car you're driving, how much money you're making. So you have that crowd. It's the kafana crowd. You will see them on the streets pretty fast. They're usually the most fake women will look like that. They will have a lot of job done on them. Whatever Mother Nature has given them, it will be out on display. A lot of them are looking for someone to take care of them. Not in a sugar daddy manner. This isn't such a typical thing in Serbia, like for example it is in Kiev in Ukraine. But here they are looking for a guy that they would be in a monogamous relationship with him, but he would be totally providing for everything and taking her places and giving her at least a little bit of that luxury lifestyle as much as they can get that. Unfortunately, that crowd, when you talk to those girls, not all of them, but some of them, unfortunately, are fairly shallow, and they're beautiful, but in many cases they don't really have much else to offer apart from their beauty. And then you have, that's one group, it's a fairly small group, and then you have all different levels of traditional girls, because still, especially girls you meet that are from cities outside of Belgrade, from smaller cities, they will be very traditional. Some of them will talk about sex after marriage. Oh my god. Maybe the extreme would be girls that are interested in sex after marriage, but it would be also fairly typical to... Basically, Serbia is a 3-date country.
Yeah, 3 dates always.
Yes,
but after marriage,
it's typical.
shocking.
It's typical thing for here to if a girl sleeps with a guy faster than on a 3rd date, she would be called names. There is a lot of slut shaming in this country, so you kind of have to take into account that. And because of how traditional they are kind of looking for a relationship. You will see girls that are into hookups, but it's not that common. And even if they're fine with hookups, I've noticed they become fairly needy pretty fast. So
not really hookup then, yeah.
Yeah,
like...
this is not too much of a hookup country. So they don't come here for that. Some of them actually care how long you are in a country for, and if they know you're here for a month, then it's gonna be tough. But if they know you're a foreigner who lives here or is gonna spend at least a few months here, then they might be more interested in the idea. But still, they will make, even if they know you're leaving, they will make comments. Oh yeah, but you're leaving. It's not fair to a girl. No. That being said, here you have a lot of what I call, or what is called, the pressure cooker effect, especially with girls from Belgrade, because since this country is so traditional, but at the same time they're being exposed to the Western culture, to all the craziness and fast sex and crazy adventures that happen everywhere else in the world, they are naturally curious about that, because they're only good girls because of traditions mostly. So if you take girls who are learned about the craziness but live in a traditional place, the tension builds up, and when they find someone that they know they can release the tension with, even if it means just for a few months or maybe for a longer period of time, then you will find surprises. The pressure cooker explodes at one moment, and then it's game on. But I think the main thing to say would be that relationships are important to them. That's what they're looking for. So don't lie to them. Don't give them the wrong impression that if you come here just for fun, then don't lie. Don't give the wrong impression that you're looking for something serious if you're not. And just be nice. Don't break this country, because they're still fairly naive. They haven't seen what it means to have crowds of British guys coming in and sleeping with anything that decides to sleep with them. Just don't destroy the city. It has been done to too many cities.
Yeah, I have seen these British guys in Budapest. The pubs and bars, and they're full with groups of British guys looking for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why don't come here? We go to Budapest.
It's easier in Budapest. It's easier.
Decision. Yeah,
it's a little bit easier.
Yeah. So what other types we have here in Serbia?
So yeah, what do we have? We have kafana crowd. We have the traditional girls. You don't get a lot of tech girls, so that would be the San Francisco crowd. That would be the girls that are extremely career driven, that they've kind of lost touch to their feminine side. You don't get a lot of that here. Girls, even if they're driven here, they still have the feminine side, which is beautiful. If you find a driven girl here, she will still most likely know how to be a lady.
Yeah, that's really a unique thing for this country and a few more.
Yes,
really good.
And you will find the good type of feminists here as well. And what I mean by good type, Serbia is guys in Serbia, again, the hell I know about guys, but this is what I've heard from Serbian girls. Guys are fairly traditional here, and they're very jealous. They're the jealous type, yeah, and they're jealous to an unhealthy level. And thing, there was this influencer, Serbian influencer with like 250,000 followers on Instagram. He was on a national television where he said basically, if I'm in a relationship with her, who the hell is she to say no to me when I want sex? So that is the kind of the thing they have here, where you kind of have to learn that if you said no, it's rape, even if you are in a relationship. And now you have this uprising of positive, beautiful feminism, where women realized I don't have to do that, and I can explore what I actually want to do with my life, with my sexuality. So you will see those girls as a bit more artsy, a bit more easier to talk maybe, but still very, very feminine, as long as it doesn't turn extreme. I don't know what else. What other types do we have here? I think that's it. You have from kafana girls to artsy girls to anything in between, actually. That's the beauty of this country. You have so many different types, just not crazy party girls. Yes, by the way, let's touch that subject a little bit. In Serbia, they are used to, they've learned to put whatever Mother Nature has given them on display. So they might look very promiscuous, or like short skirts and tops with huge décolletés but it doesn't mean they're easy, and you shouldn't be fooled by that. And it's important because girls here look beautiful, and they know that they look beautiful, and guys here care about beauty. Girls are used to guys chasing them just because of beauty. So if you say to a Serbian girl that, oh my god, you look beautiful, she doesn't really care about that, because she has heard that 100 times before. She knows that. So make sure you are actually looking beyond that beauty. You are looking at what else she has to offer. Maybe in a way that you can view this from kind of two perspectives. One is, what else does she have to add to your life? Because beauty is very common here. You will see many beautiful girls on the streets here all the time. So look at what else do you want in your life apart from beauty? Because me and my students, we've learned after dating beautiful girls for a while that it gets old and you want something more. So look at that. But also, if a Serbian girl will see that you're looking what else she has to offer, and you treat her beauty as nothing special, they will actually appreciate it, because they're kind of, it seems they're tired to be kind of treated like sexual subjects just because they're beautiful. So even though it might sound sharp to say, oh, look at what else they have to offer, they will actually appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, I agree. So Robert, where do you guys can meet girls in Serbia? Which are common places?
Yeah, so there is a difference between Serbia and Belgrade. So let's stick to Belgrade, because outside of Belgrade it's definitely gonna be very, very different. And we can talk about online dating, which is very popular abroad. We can talk about meeting girls through your social circle, whether that's work or friends or wherever you hang out. We can talk about bars, clubs, and we can talk about what I do, just walking up to girls wherever I go. And of course, let's keep in mind that most guys watching this are foreigners, so we will kind of look at it from the foreigner perspective. If we look at online, yes, people are on dating apps here, and I would say Tinder is the most popular one. You'll see many girls there. People use it, but it's not that typical, and unless you really, really, really know what you're doing there, or unless you are really good looking, you're not gonna succeed there. If you know what you're doing and if you're really good looking, you might use Tinder for hookups. Definitely easy. There exists a hookup culture within Tinder. It still is not going to happen on a first date, which is something we'll talk later about. Tinder is definitely one of the options, but you have to, the girls you will meet there will be nowhere near as hot as you are. So you have to understand that there are some realities to online dating, whether that's Tinder or any other app. So it is an option. I'm not a big fan unless, well, if you're coming to Serbia because the girls are beautiful, then well, meet them where they're beautiful, not on Tinder, because you can get that level of girls wherever else in the world you are. It doesn't really matter. And now let's talk about social circle, because Serbia is a very social circle driven culture, and it's important who you know. Most people, from what I talked about with girls and guys here, most people have met their other halves, or however we call them, through friends, through work, through social circles. So that would be the #1 place to that's the number one place how locals meet girls. You can try to use that to your advantage. You can build your social circle in Serbia, then go out with them and meet girls that way. That is definitely doable. For example, just to show how normal it is to meet girls from social circle, I stopped a girl on the street a few weeks ago. We didn't go out for a drink, but she invited me to a house party with her and two of her friends. One of the friends, some guy, got sick. We were supposed to go to his place, so we didn't. And the girl just said, hey, like, can me and my best friend, can we just come over to your place? I had met her for 10 minutes on a street. She was at my place with her best friend, another girl, at 11 p.m. at night.
Oh my god.
And that was,
Amazing.
they viewed it as, okay, yeah, that's kind of, people hang out here at each other's places, again, because maybe they don't make that much money, so they don't drink outside. It is not typical for Serbian girls to come straight over to your house, but it's just an experience I had here. Bars and clubs. At bars and clubs, you have to understand that, again, it's social circle oriented. So people in a bar, when they go to a club, they go with their friends and they're sitting at their table with their friends and talking with their friends. So you would have to infiltrate that group somehow. It could be pretty complicated. I personally don't go to bars, I personally don't go to clubs too much, so I can't comment on this too much, but from what I've heard, again, from other guys that have came here and who know what they're doing when it comes to seducing girls at bars and clubs, they said that it's very tough to do it here just because of the fact that everyone is in groups and they're kind of close to, especially to foreigners, unless you go there with a bunch of other Serbians, or it's a social circle thing where you know a few guys, they take with you and they have like 10 Serbian girls with them, then that's a different thing. You're sitting at the same table. And my favorite thing, streets. I meet girls wherever I go, whether it's a grocery store, shopping mall, street. I would just stop whoever I like and say hi. It's very much yes or very much no. I get some reactions where they just look at me and like their eyes are like, what the fuck? And they just walk off, or I stopped this girl and I said, hey, sorry, I just had to say you looked very cute, and she looked at me and just like, I just walked off. While other girls at the same time will be very receptive. If they see them as something more than just a hot girl and you came here as a sex tourist to sleep with local girls. If they sense that,
sex tourist, this is a new terminology.
No, like
sex tourist.
it's actually a very common terminology.
No,
it's very common. It's very common. So if they see you as a sex tourist, you're not gonna get anywhere. But if they see that you actually want to get to meet them for more than their looks, then they might be very open to being chatted up on the streets if you know what you're doing. When it comes to stopping girls on the streets, so I did the same thing back 1.5 years ago when I was here, and that's what I taught my students to do here, and I'm here now doing the same thing again. So if you wanna do this in Serbia, then some guys have watched YouTube videos on how to do that, and if that's all you have done, you're probably not gonna get too many results here in Serbia. If you want to do that, your street seduction skills, or however you want to call them, doesn't really matter. They have to be at really high level. So if you've just learned online, that is not gonna work. If you've been doing that in other countries, or you've learned with me or someone else, then let's say you have a chance if you're willing to put in the work and crack the code. But then again, if you learn to meet Serbian girls on streets, you'll be able to do that wherever else in the world you go, just because of how tough they are and how you kind of need to learn to do that. So we have online, to summarize, we have online, which is tricky, not that popular, people still use it maybe a bit for hookups, and the hookup will take you 3 dates, mostly, with some exceptions. Social circle would be the most common thing, bars, club will be pretty tough, and streets is my favorite, and if you know what you're doing there, you're gonna do very fine on the streets as well. Where else guys normally meet girls? I mean, think about it. Where else? Wherever you travel. Those are the only options that people have. Unless they are into like startup culture, they would go to a startup event and chat you up there.
What about events actually?
Well, it's COVID now. It's hard for me to comment on events. I don't actually know. Events maybe could be like a thing where you get a soft entry where you chatted with her a little bit. I don't see events as the most effective thing for guys. For a girl, if you wanted to find a Serbian boyfriend, then I would tell you go to tech events where they appreciate tech girls, because you're kind of like a tech girl, and they would appreciate that type of a girl there. But for guys, I think it's fairly tricky in that environment. Again, because
Yeah, not many techie girls in Serbia, no?
yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely not a country for techie girls. Gyms would be, I think, very similar to streets. If you know what you're doing, it could be fine. But then again, you don't want to be the guy at a gym that's hitting on every girl there and gets the reputation. You know, the saying, don't where you eat. So it's the same for work, it's the same for gym or whatever other kind of hobby things you do.
So how do dates work in Serbia? How to date in Serbia?
How to date in Serbia. Okay, let's talk about
how to date in Serbia, Robert.
Okay, let's talk about this because this is very interesting for me actually, because dating here is different than what I've seen anywhere else in the world. And we will talk about how to get laid in Serbia, because it's just a natural part. Like sex is just a natural part of building connection. It's like a natural kind of climax of this beautiful seduction dance. And what do you want to do after that, whether you are after some fun or you're actually looking for something serious, that is on you. But the seduction process doesn't really change based on your goal, unless you want to be the guy that takes her on 7 dates, takes her on like 7 dinners, and then plays this nice guy role, and then gets the nice guy sex with her, which means she will do the nice things, just to nice things as in like good girl things, nothing crazy like one position and boring sex, because you gave her such hopes of a husband that she decided, oh, I have to play a nice girl role. He's so nice, I have to be nice. Like I will not do anything filthy with him. So unless you want that, there is no real difference. But so the dating model would be the same here and in any other place in the world. The steps you have to go through would be exactly the same, but the difference is in some places you would do those steps in 2 hours, in 1 date, in 2 dates. Here you would typically try to do all of those steps over 3 dates. And now let's talk about what to do on a first date, on a second date, and on a third date. So when we're talking about the first date, you actually don't want to do anything fancy, you don't want to do anything crazy like dinners or whatever, but we kind of touched this a little bit on the previous video we did, but now let's go a little bit more in depth. Just go for a coffee or just for drinks. It's all you need to do, 1 or 2 drinks. In most places I travel to, most places I've lived at, I would expect me or my students to take a girl home on the first, the latest would be the second date, but here it's completely different. In Serbia, I view first dates as a formality. We kind of show up, we talk about all the standard topics like, oh, what do you do, what are your hobbies, where have you traveled, what are your interests, what music do you listen to, do you have brothers, sisters, where did you grow up, how was that? All of this copy-paste stuff, we all talk on every date. To me, it's really a formality. So your job on a first date is to cover the 4 standard topics and then kind of move into this man to woman type of conversation and just build this attraction so that you both find each other interesting, you both find each other attractive, but also build some comfort. You know something about her, she knows something about her, and that way you're both attracted and you feel safe with each other. I could honestly go on for hours about this topic. How exactly do you go from not knowing each other to building attraction and trust? But let's not do this on this video because it would make it way too long. And I have 2 completely free online courses where I explain all the dating model I use on dates, and you can simply go to daygamecourses.com, the link will be in description, and go through courses there. You will understand what to do. But the short version is you go for 1 drink at 1 bar, you chat a bit, you spend maybe 30-40 minutes there, you go to another bar, you spend maybe an hour and a half there, and at around 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, it's time to finish the date. There is literally no point in going longer. You've done your job, now go do something else, spend your time, I don't know, read a book, watch a video, watch a movie, but it's really no point in Serbia to do longer dates than 2.5 hours for the first date. Okay, now let's talk about the second date, and this comes, and now when we talk about the second date, you will realize why it was so important to build that connection and trust with the girl on the first date. Weirdly enough, this doesn't happen in other traditional countries, but in Serbia I found that most of my second dates we did straight at my place. In other countries it's tricky. Here it seemed fairly typical. They felt very safe coming straight over to my place for the second date. We always were cooking something. We were cooking sushi one day. Finding sushi ingredients in Belgrade is a fucking mess. It was so hard. We have a little fan base building up. I don't know. It might be a bit too fast. Starting a second date straight at your place might be a bit too fast for a traditional country like this. So what I would normally suggest is still go for a drink outside. Maybe start a bit earlier, don't start at like 7 or 8, maybe start like 5:30, 6, so you have more time for the evening. So you can go for a drink, or maybe you can do something like a wine in a park, a little picnic, explore. I don't know what the rules about having wine in a public place here is, but you can do something like that easily. You can even go and do silly things like bike rides, but I would simply say go out for a drink and then make sure you bring her back to your place on a second date. This is very important, but your goal isn't to even try to sleep with her on a second date in Serbia. If you get too far, let's say you get her, let's say you go to your place, you start kissing, you start making out, and then she's almost naked on your bed. I know this is too much for a YouTube channel, sorry. But then she says, no, she stops you. If you went too far, she will never see you again. She will regret doing all of that. So take things slow, don't rush. Your goal is to come back to your place, but it's only to make her feel comfortable with your place, to know it's safe, to know that you're not a crazy creep that's gonna jump on her as soon as you go to your apartment. So maybe go to your place, cook something, or tell her about the movie that's really amazing, and when she says, oh my god, it sounds so good, you say, well, let's finish a drink, I'll show you that movie, but you can't stay too long because I gotta wake up early. Let's watch the movie, that's it. Yeah, she would say, yeah, but I can't stay long, I don't have time. Or she would say, yes, but we will not have sex. So it's your job to say those things first, actually. That way, you see what happened there. So it can be watching a movie, it can be, I don't know, showing your photos from some trip that you have on your laptop, it can be smoking a shisha, it can be whatever. But again, the job isn't to even try to sleep with her, just to take her over, chill with her for a few hours, make sure she feels comfortable. But obviously you have to go for the kiss on the second date. That is important. Of course, if she rejects you more than twice, like if she rejects you twice, don't try, maybe like 2-3 times, like you can try 2-3 times. If she rejects you 3 times, don't try anymore. That's kinda, it's a bit too pushy and she might not come out again. All you have to worry about is getting her over to your place and trying to kiss her. And if she lets you kiss her and you feel that it's okay, it's totally fine to cuddle while you're watching a movie, do something like that. But don't push, don't try to like sleep with her too fast, because again, it's a traditional country. If you go too fast, but don't go till the end, she will regret it, she will not see you again. And I think those are the most important things you have to know about second dates in Serbia. Interestingly enough, kissing doesn't seem to mean too much in Serbia. Just as they are fine with putting all of their goodies on display, they are very often fine with what I call socially acceptable escalation. For example, just as an example, like Anna has this watch and I might say, oh, this is a very cute watch, well, what is that? And you start touching girls like this by checking out their accessories, earrings, rings, whatever, and get them to tell stories, and they would be very comfortable here. Whereas Anna, being a Russian girl, most likely wouldn't be too comfortable with stuff like that. She wasn't even comfortable when I checked out her watch right now. Whereas a Serbian girl would be, which is not that typical for a country like this, but again, it is what it is. So you can do stuff like that, you can go for the kiss, and it's totally fine here. It doesn't mean that much. There is one thing in Serbia that means everything, and that is sex. One important thing I have to add about a second date: if you are not sure whether she is spending time with you because you have interesting stories about your travels and you're an interesting guy and she doesn't have many guys like that in her life, if you want to make sure whether she's friend zoning you or this is actually on, and she might make you think that it's on because again, a lot of them will actually feel fairly comfortable talking about sexual topics with you on the second date, sometimes even on a first date. It is unexpected from a traditional country like this, but on a second date, if they're talking about stuff like that and you go for the kiss and she rejects you 3 times and still keeps talking about it, be careful with it. And now we'll talk about how to make sure that you're doing the right things and she isn't friend-zoning you on a third date. Guys, the third date is super simple. Only do third dates at your place, period. If she didn't come to your place on a second date, she didn't let you touch her, check out her accessories, whatever, she didn't let you kiss her. If she is not coming your place on the third date, just maybe go on a date with someone else, because it means if she didn't even let you touch her on a second date, then probably you'll have to go on 7 dates. Do you really want to do it? Well, not really. More than 3 dates it's too traditional, and you're making too much of an investment of time and money, and maybe she's playing you because you're interesting, you're taking her interesting places, so be aware of that. Super easy. Date is at your place. Don't waste your time if it isn't. Cook, watch something, and have sex. It's that simple. Of course, there are extra steps on how to go from like cooking and watching a movie to actually having sex, but as I said, it's not the topic for this video, and you'll learn all about that on the online course I told you about before. So guys, the one thing I can say, they're beautiful, a lot of them are interesting. It's definitely worth coming here to at least take a look and see whether that is something you like, whether you want to spend time dating here, whether you want to meet the local girls, and whether you want to have fun or build some relationships here. It's a country that is beautiful, not just for the girls, for the people, for the city, for the nature, so definitely give it a go. Go to Serbia. Anna has so many videos about this country. If you haven't watched them, all of them, then like, come on.
Yeah, and maybe you meet the girl and you move here, you stay forever, who knows. I have a lot of videos about moving to Serbia, and yeah, maybe they will be helpful after you have your third date and the fourth, and afterwards. Dating videos with Robert, they are all educational. You can check his channel, has a podcast, so if you want to educate yourself on dating, this is the right person, I think.
Yeah, because as I told you behind the scenes, that everything we talked about this video, even it's been almost an hour, we've just kind of touched the headlines of the chapters, of like the titles of the chapters. We didn't even go into any of the chapters. There's so much more information. It's such an interesting subject. That's what I live and breathe all the time. It's just so close to my heart. Thank you for interviewing me on this. It's been really, really cool.
Thank you. And if you guys want to maybe see some Serbian people on this channel, comment below. Maybe I should interview Serbian on about dating and what they think, like how we should date them, like women and men. Comment below what you want to see, and contact Robert if you have any question and request for his help.
Yeah, I'm here for 1 more month, so.
Yeah. Thank you and for watching, and see you next time. Thank you, Robert, and bye.
Thank you, bye.